2 is asking for approval of this item, so without objection, item 13 will be approved. That brings us to item number 14.
Item number 14 is a categorical exemption and DOT report relative to establishing preferential parking district number 292 in the Brentwood Glen neighborhood.
Okay, we have a number of public comment cards on this one. We will start with Norman Beal, followed by Ziggy Cruz and Bob Blue. You can all come up at the same time.
How much time do I get?
1 minute.
I get 3 minutes?
No, it's everybody gets 1 minute. If someone has filled out cards for multiple items, some of those speakers that you saw before filled out 23 cards, the max we give for multiple items is 2 minutes. So everybody gets 1 minute for regular public comment.
Okay, I will try to make my 3 quick points. First, the memo you received from the general manager misquotes the rules and procedures. She has inserted the phrase on a minimum of 4 blocks into the requirement that 85% of parking spaces be occupied. The DOT counted 62% occupancy. That's 590 occupied spaces divided by a total of 957 parking spaces. The 85% requirement protects against the overuse of preferential parking. By changing the test and then cherry-picking a few of the shortest blocks scattered across the area, the DOT is attempting to circumvent the protection the City Council had put in place. The City Code requires that a change in the rules must be approved by the City Council. This requirement is not optional. You can't sit here and weigh the pros and cons of permit parking in Brentwood Glen. The law is the law. You are legally bound to reject this PPD.
Thank you very much. Sir?
All right. One thing I wanted to point out, state law, trumps the local law, and the California Vehicle Code does require reasonableness. We felt the entire journey lacked a due process. Instead of having a fair and open hearing, we were told to go to the council office, but then it appears that the council office has given preference to one person, mainly Corey Solomon. Ms. Cahill had stated at the hearing that she doesn't take sides, and yet in an email obtained by Public Records Act request, she told Ms. Solomon she's on her side, she supports her, and then told another person that opposed it that she can't take sides. It's made up, despite, the preferential treatment, the hearsay was used both in your letter to the DOT to initiate this work. We're kind of cut out the process. And then the LA DOT also presented findings such as UCLA students are causing the problem without any objectiveness. That's all we ask for is, being scientific, objective, and investigating, and nothing was proven there. Thank you.
Hi. I ditto everything that was already said to save time, but also we submitted our objections in writing and sent it to all the council members here.
I got a copy of the 41-page document.
Yes, and I hope you had a chance to review this because it summarizes quite a bit of it, including the falsehoods in the staff report. The public relies on the staff report, so does the committee. And if the staff report is flawed and has inaccuracies in it, like citing guidelines that don't exist or don't apply, I believe there is time for a redo and resitting with the staff to make sure that the information provided to the public is correct. Because when we find it out, it should be very simple for you guys to find that out. Lastly, at the commission hearing, a potential conflict of interest was brought up by one of the commissioners that was raised during the meeting. And with the question, if she could ask the city attorney a question in private, the answer was clearly no. It's a public meeting, nothing is private. And she didn't elaborate. So there will be objections coming your way in regard to a potential conflict of interest because the public has a right to know who is the decision maker, who pushed one of these items towards the committee. So that basically sums it up because everything is in writing in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there Rebecca Burkhart? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, we've been trying to get this for a very long time, and Corey Solomon is just working on the behalf. She is the association, and she's working on the behalf of the people who live there. I live on Church Lane. I've had numerous cars there for over a month. These cars get dirty. The neighborhood looks bad, but on top of that, we've had 3 car alarms go off, one in the middle of the night. And we've had, one I think was a break-in and they stole the car because it peeled out afterwards. But so we've had to have 2 cars towed. And, you see 2 kids pull up, 1 kid hops out and hops in the other car and they drive off. We know it's UCLA. And we spoke, my husband works with someone who's in the, works for their central plant, and he said, there's nowhere else for these people to park. Westwood Hills, every surrounding neighborhood has a PPD or is gated. And so we're the last bastion. And my time's up. Okay.
Thank you.
you.
Rachel Gatan? Did you fill out we can't do that. Everybody's limited to the same amount of time. We have to apply the rules equally or we get in trouble.
Hello, I've been a homeowner in Brentwood Glen for over 24 years, and I'm very disturbed by this overzealous effort by the so-called Brentwood Glen Association, and to implement preferential parking and the manner in which they've been obtaining the signatures, including my husband's signature, which we had to rescind. His second point was basically you need to know that the petition effort for Brentwood Glen was a flop. Only 2 regular-sized blocks signed up for permit parking. There are 36 homes on these blocks, 36 customers for permit. There are 6 block fragments scattered about. 2 have 2 homes, actually side of homes. 2 have 4 homes, and 5 homes are on a curvy strip where no one likes to park anyway, because these blocks are so short and surrounded by blocks that don't have permit parking.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there somebody named Tal?
Yes. Oh.
No. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Hi. PPD 292. I would like to thank the Permit Parking Division, especially Aaron Thompson, for all the work that they've done on this. I'll skip a big part because I only have a little time. This PPD process was done by the book from day one. Almost 50% of households in the Brentwood Glen signed on with an overwhelming majority of 85% on the submitted petitions. Parking study confirmed what residents have been complaining about for years, confirming that the petition street had a real scientifically proven parking issue. Please, don't let the interest of non-residents like hotel workers, UCLA and Archer School students dictate how we get to live in our neighborhood. Please approve PPD 292. I'd like to just show, these are the submitted petitions, hundreds of households. And this was other petitions that did not pass the 85%, were not submitted, with hundreds of more signatures. This has been a real issue, and thank you for
Thank you, sir. Final speaker on this item is Morgan Gubin.
Thanks. I have a newfound appreciation for your guys' jobs after watching those first few speakers.
Thanks.
And we should also probably up the mental health budget after watching that as well. But anywho, I live on the corner of Montana and Beloit, which is essentially the epicenter of, I think, the parking dilemma in the neighborhood. Every morning during the week from 8:30 to 9:30, I can watch cars come, park, people walk off, get on scooters, get in Ubers. It's a constant problem. I just last week had another car towed on the corner of Beloit after it had been sitting there for almost a month. It's a real issue for us. I understand that some neighbors, don't think it is for where they live, but I can tell you in certain parts of the neighborhood, it's a real issue, and I think we're the last neighborhood that doesn't have it around our area, and I think we should have it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes public comment on this. I'd like to thank everybody from the Glen who came down from both sides of the discussion, and thanks everybody for the public testimony, both verbal and written, that has been submitted to my office and to LADOT. As folks know, the PPD process is a community-driven one, and when a neighborhood is impacted by a public parking problem, it's the neighbors who step up and petition for relief, and this was generated from the neighborhood. And the city is glad to be able to provide that relief when the neighborhood meets what are objective criteria and demonstrates that there is public support. And DOT has done this by the books. My staff has looked into this. The criteria has been met. My understanding is that LA DOT afforded opponents an opportunity to do a counter petition, and that counter petition failed. So I should note that inclusion in the PPD boundaries, and I just want to be clear on this, does not mean that signs get posted throughout the entire eligible area. I'll repeat that. It does not mean that signs get posted throughout the entire eligible area. That's just the area that is eligible for the restrictions and the posting. The parking restrictions are posted only on the blocks where neighbors on that block want the restriction. If anybody doesn't want their block restricted, they can talk to the neighbors on their block and they can stop the signs on there. But they don't have the opportunity to stop it on those blocks within the eligible area that do want it. So within the eligible area, the city will install the restrictions where the people on that block want it and will not on the place where the people on the block do not want it. So with that, and having heard the testimony, this item is in CD11. I would ask that we approve this item and would so move. Do I have a second? Okay.